Since there are so many people that have some of the same questions, I figured no better time than the present to address some of those questions now. So that is the purpose of this video. First question I get and often repeated is, are you going to sue? Yes, I want to sue them. I want them held accountable. Number one, I want to receive justice for my mom. I have tried to reach out to different pro bono firms to see if they would take the case. And the two that I have contacted, I understand, is that they only take cases from the Minnesota Volunteer Lawyers Association and through legal aid. And this type of situation that we're now faced with doesn't qualify. My financial situation personally has changed drastically. It is such that right now I can't cover 2 mortgages. Right now focusing on my own mortgage in order to attempt to try to save the home and stave off foreclosure, or, try to prevent foreclosure. I have to sell the vehicle that, again, I believe she was conned into buying so that, of course, the evangelist's sister could get out of her lease. So that is also where the money from the estate is going. Unfortunately, the way the Holy Construction crew has left this home in, it cannot even, in its current state, cannot be rented out. But what drives me, even if I am unable to save my mother's home or recoup what was taken from her, I want to at least, in my mother's name, prevent somebody else or some other family from going through what I and my siblings are currently going through as a result of this fraud perpetrated by members of her church. I have not even been able to properly grieve my mother because this has caused me so much stress and anxiety that you could not imagine. People asked who I've reported this to. Well, I have filed a MARC report. A MARC report is the Minnesota Adult Abuse Reporting Center. I have filed a report with that. I have filed a police report. I've not gotten far with that. I have filed a complaint with the Department of Labor and Industry. That is still ongoing. I have filed a complaint with the Minnesota Department of Commerce for the insurance issue. That did not go how I expect, and I will explain that in another video. There was insurance fraud, and unfortunately, the Minnesota Department of Commerce just allowed the insurance company to pretty much investigate themselves because I was concerned that how the evangelist was able to put the claim in on behalf of my mother. I have contacted the National Abuse Hotline. I have filed a complaint with the FTC. I have filed a complaint with the Minnesota Attorney General's office. All the places that I have filed complaints with, unfortunately, given this situation, I've not received much help. The prior problem is my mother, the victim in this matter, is deceased. And primarily, the Washington County Sheriff has stated that, well, my mother, even being that she was a recent widow and 78 years old, that she could make her own decisions, that she was not considered vulnerable, and he didn't see a crime. I have tried to contact the Washington County Attorney's Office and tried to get somebody to sit down so I could show them what I've shown in videos, I can't get an audience. I was referred back that I need to go to the sheriff. Now, I've also been asked, have you contacted, any investigative reporters? Yes, I have. I have been trying to get this story out because what happened to my mom didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened. So I've contacted a major newspaper here in the Twin Cities. I've also contacted several of the stations. And what I am of the understanding from talking to those who are in the journalist and broadcast field is they want to see some type of government action before they'll run a story. So while there was interest and while there was empathy, until some government entity takes action, they are resistant to run the story. So that is why I am putting these videos out, because I know my mother could not have been the first victim of this type of financial elder abuse, because the way they did my mother, the brazenness of this, you don't do your first time around. Like, as you said, it's over $100,000. And because my mother is deceased, there is resistance to follow through with this. Also, who I reported this to? I reported this to the bank. Now, the bank is Blaze Credit Union. That is the bank that the evangelist belonged to, that she bought my mother or had my mother take out this mortgage. I contacted them, told them that I believe my mother was a victim of financial elder abuse. Now, what really bothers me about this whole situation, again, it didn't have to happen. And I believe my mother actually went into the bank in order to make their transaction. And nobody raised a red flag. Now, my mother was 78. Nobody asked, why is these mortgage loan proceeds that you just got yesterday going into someone's personal bank account? No one flagged it. No one did anything. Even if I myself were to make a transaction over $200 sometimes, it gets flagged. And they want to know, is this legitimate? I believe it's likely that she knew that her bank wouldn't question it because it stayed inside. I've asked them to follow up on it. To my knowledge, I don't know that there's been an investigation, because who knows at this point what the evangelist told the mortgage loan officer, because she attended that mortgage consult with my mother. So this is why I am putting these videos out there. Number one, I don't want no one else to experience this. I have people ask me, what can I do? Share the videos. Even if you don't live in Minnesota, I want the story out there. I don't want anybody else's family to go through this. So I would ask that you please share the videos, get this out. People have asked me if I contacted the Minnesota Elder Justice Institute. Yes, I have. And they were very helpful. But however, again, since my mother is deceased, there's not many resources out there. Minnesota doesn't seem to have a standalone financial elder abuse statute. It's just dependent on being able to show mental or physical impairment. As you may all know, elderly people are taken advantage of at a much bigger scale. And they don't have to be physically or mentally incapacitated or disabled. If you know of a law firm or an attorney or somebody that would be willing to take this on a contingent basis or or a pro bono basis. Please just get this out there. I never, ever would have thought this would have happened to my mother. And I pray that this never happens to anybody else's mother or father. And I will take more questions if I haven't covered your specific question in another